All right. Real quick. This comes back to the- All right. So I know that you guys have obviously all been to Mississippi today, and you have heard about your scores. So first and foremost, I want to say congratulations. You guys did very, very well. You should be very proud of yourself. Let's talk quickly about some of the things that you guys did that made you successful on your ELA benchmark. So what's something that you did? Jeff.
I kind of studied. I'll read a passage and I'll have like my dad write down questions. I would answer them, so I had like a half study type thing.
Okay, so you prepared before the test.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, Cora, what'd you do, City?
Something that helped me on the test was like process of elimination, or like two things that were basically like the same thing. Because she was talking about strategies. If they're like basically the same thing, they can't be right.
Okay.
That helped.
Very nice. Jeremiah, what'd you do, City?
So whenever like I go on to a question, I read the question first and look at the answers that are in the passage, and then if I know if like some answers are like not the answers in the question, I like cross it.
Okay, I like it. Ethan, what'd you do?
So there were like a few inference questions on the test. So, since, like in the Tom Swift passage, Mr. Damon, or whatever his name is, said, bless my insurance. Cause, the reason I said that, he was like scared for his life or something, the only reason I know that is cause when, Tom Swift went fast in the air, he said, wasn't that fast enough? So, it was like, he was scared.
Okay. All right, do you guys know your individual scores yet?
No.
Can you tell us?
Miss Sandoval gave me a hint.
Miss B, please.
Miss Sandoval gave me a hint.
Isn't it 8.5?
Yeah.
She said I got a 90.
Good.
She said
Well,
I
I
got
mean, your
80.
average
I mean,
for your class was
and
91,
efficient. No, that wasn't our class.
That was the plus.
That was
8.0.
Oh.
But she like
8.5%
specifically
of our
pointed out
class
people
did
that got
not.
90 or higher and 80 or higher. I got 90 or higher.
I got 80.
Miss Sandoval said that I did
She
really
said
good.
that
Listen,
the lowest score in her homeroom was an 83.
0.2.
That means we all passed.
all right, so, really, Emily? No way. So here's my question. How can you be successful tomorrow? With as successful as you were on the ELA one, how can you be successful tomorrow on the math one? Just turn it into a 17 one. Thank you, sweetie. Johnny. Okay, but what do you mean study? Because, hold on. What we do in here is not what's going to be on the test.
Oh yeah.
Remember,
Yeah,
'cause
but
we're not aligned to what they're doing. So when you say study, what do you mean? Okay. All right.
Show our work for every question.
Amen. Say it louder for the ones in the back.
Show our work for every question.
Show your work. Like, I know you guys were so aggravated with me, and I was pretty sure Cooper plotted my death and made a voodoo doll of me the first 3 weeks of school because I was like, you have to show your work to get credit. The reason you have to show your work is because regardless if you're a brainiac, regardless if you're an engineer, regardless if you are a third grader, you still can make mistakes, right? I make mistakes all the time. Cooper makes mistakes. He made a mistake on the paper that we just did. You know? So it's like, but my point is, after he and I talked about it, he's like, oh my God, I know exactly what I did. You know, so like he realized it, but not because he didn't show his work, not because he didn't annotate. And we're going to talk about annotating in a few minutes. Bless you. I need you to show your work. I need you to. Even if you don't want to, I am begging y'all because you guys can do just as well on the math benchmark as you did on the ELA benchmark. You really can. Because what is gonna be, as far as we know, quote myself and then I'll be wrong. Alright, essentially what, if I remember correctly, we're gonna have decimals, we're gonna have division, we're gonna stop, we're gonna have decimals, we're gonna have division, we're gonna have, possibly some fractions, and I believe long division. So it's nothing that you don't know or that we haven't briefly talked about, right? So we've kind of covered all that, just not the extent of, how are you gonna say no? You just shook your head no.
Oh, I didn't mean
Mhm.
I was just.
Alright, anyways, off topic, getting off track, my point is, just do as well tomorrow as you did yesterday. That's all I'm asking. And all I can ask is that you do your best. Right? Alright, we're gonna go ahead and move into our lesson today. When you get your paper, please go ahead and title it Grade 7, Unit 5. Thumbs up when you have that much. Grade 7, Unit 5, that's what we're titling, that's what we're doing right now. Grade 7, Unit 5. Thumbs up when you have that written down. Lesson 4. Half as much again. You have no idea what I just said, it's at the top of your paper.
It says unit 4 on the paper.
Yeah, well, we're in Unit 5, so. I was waiting for one of y'all to notice that.
Yeah, I've been.
Oh, I saw that on the cool down tonight.
I just don't.
I don't disagree. I just don't disagree.
Right, because Joseph, I'm the teacher, right?
Yep.
You think I would know what was going on?
Well,
Yep.
well, if there was like
Well.
a problem in a math equation, would you want us to like correct you?
Yes, if I did it wrong,
Well,
in the
what
most
if-
respectful way possible, absolutely, like he just said, perfect. Don't be like, yo, you did something wrong. Be like, yo, I don't care.
What
Alright, so it says let's use fractions to describe increasing and decreasing. So we are using fractions today. Alright? It says, what do you notice and what do you wonder about these two tape diagrams? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You need to write 2 notices and 2 wonders. So notice. 2, wonder. 2. You have 5 minutes. Go. Stand up if you finish. Stand up when you're done. Bless you. Layla, be very careful of your chair. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go over it. So, what was something that you noticed? Raise your hand. What was something that you noticed? All right, Christian.
They both have a one, or like a showing as one.
Both have a blank showing as
The
one?
same length, the mark down.
Okay, Cooper L.
I noticed that the whole bottom bar is the equivalent of the first portion of the top bar.
Say that again?
I noticed that the whole bottom bar is equivalent to the first portion of the top bar.
Is equivalent? to the what?
The first portion, the first part.
Alright, yeah.
That part of the second diagram is shaded.
Shaded darker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So second. Alright, give me one more. One more. Nobody? Alright, Brock?
I noticed that the darker part in the second finger, whatever, is 3/4 of the first portion in the first.
So darker part in second is 3/4.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
3/4 what?
Of the first finger.
Okay, interesting. So this is 3/4 of that whole thing,
Or not the whole thing, but just to where the one.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
3/4. Interesting. All right, what do we wonder? What are some questions we have? Ethan,
why is one more than one hole?
why is one
More than one hole.
more than one hole? But what is one hole? All right, Joseph.
I was wondering why is there a darker part on the second diagram?
All right, Michaela.
Why does the second one have like section with a fourth beside it?
Has a 4. Okay, let me get one more. All right, Caleb.
I was wondering how long the little block is, or the little extra thing, because it never tells you how long it is.
How long this little extra piece is?
Yeah, like you can assume what it
How many
is, but
pieces
it never
is it?
tells you how much it is.
Yeah, we know. We know, but like, it's pretty good if you didn't know.
Hey, that's a great question because honestly, we know nothing other than there's a 1.
What if the
We don't know the measurements, right?
How many pieces is it?
I mean, we don't even know if like this is a section and this would like, we don't know. All right, so there's no right or wrong with a notice and wonder. It's just what you notice and what you want. Right? We can assume, but we can't be 100% because we don't have any information. All right, slide over to 4.2. So walking half as much. We are going to be completing the table to show the total distance walked in each case. All right, so you have your table. The initial distances for those are 10, 3, 4.5, 1, and then unknown. All right, again, that X, we don't know what it is. So you have A, B, C, D, and E. So this is for pencils are down. I'm gonna act like I don't see that half of your paper is already filled out, Joseph. It says Jada's pet turtle walked 10 feet and then half that length again. Jada's baby brother walked 3 yards, then half that length again. Jada's hamster walked 4.5 kilometers, then half the length again. That's a long walk for a hamster. Jada's robot walked 1 mile, then half the length again, and then a person walked X meters and then half the length again. All right, this should not take you very long. I'm gonna give you a minute to fill out the right side of that chart. Go. stand up when you have this. What do you think? So A goes with 10, right? The bid pet total walk 10 feet and half the length. So 10 feet and then what? So altogether, what's going wrong? All right. So with the first one, Jada's pet turtle. If the turtle walked 10 feet and then half the length, we have 10 plus what? 10 plus 5. So our total distance for that one is going to be 15. Okay? For B, Jada's baby brother walked 3 yards and then half that length again. So what is our initial distance? Jeremiah? And then half of 3?
It's 1.5, so 3 plus 1.5 equals 4.5.
Perfect. Okay, Jada's hamster, poor thing, probably had a heart attack. That's a long walk. A kilometer. For a little baby hamster with a little baby legs. Oh no. Sorry, I can't get over that one. That one's too much. So what is half of 4.5? This one gets a little bit harder because we're dealing with that decimal and, Raheem. 2 and 2500s?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then when we add those together, Raheem, what do we get?
6 and 75.
All right, then the robot walked a mile. So what's our initial? What's the initial distance?
1.
Okay, and then half?
0.5.
Okay, total?
1.5.
All right, and then E. So this one's kind of like that equation that we're trying to fit, like essentially the equation we use for all of these without even really doing an equation. Because really, you guys didn't do any math, did you?
No.
But you did x plus x equals x.
But you had to figure out what the second X was. Technically, without thinking, you did do this. So what goes here? So we have our initial, which is X. Obviously, we're adding. Brenda, what'd you do? Why? Okay, so I like that you're applying some information that we've learned previously to this. But how did we get all these second numbers? What did we technically do? Like, what'd you do? So half of 10 is 5, right? So what did you do without really thinking? So you're halving your numbers, right? So when you half a number, so you can divide by 2. Or you can multiply by half. Okay? Either one is really truly the exact same thing. Right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, Christian.
So I took with our previous knowledge that if there's something from the x, it's gonna be a 1.
Oh,
So will it be 1.5?
No, you all are doing too much. Like this, there's no like extra step. It's legit. We halved every first number, and then added that half. Like do not make this more complicated. It is very simple. Okay? Yes.
Put into the box, and then it'd be x 1.5, or would it just be x?
It depends on how, like, if you wanted to divide by 2, or if you wanted to multiply by half. So that, I'm not gonna put anything in this box, because you can either divide by 2, or you can half. Does that make sense? I wrote the division thing wrong. Alright, number 2, explain how you computed the total distance in each case. So how did we figure out the totals? We divided by 2 or multiply by half. Alright, 2 students each wrote an equation to represent the relationship between the initial distance walked, x, and the total distance walked, y. So Rena, remember I said you were on the right track with the x and the y? So good job pulling in that prior information. That's great. Alright, so I wrote y equals x plus half x. And Kyron wrote y equals 3 halves x. Okay? Keep that in mind. Flip the paper over. Do you agree with either of them? Explain your reason. Alright, so I'm going to leave this way so you guys don't have to flip back and forth. So I'm giving you 3 minutes. Either I agree with them or I don't agree with them. And explain why you agree with them or why you don't agree with them. Or why you agree with one but not the other. Or why you agree with the other but not the one. You're just simply writing, I agree with the first equation because, I agree with the second equation because, or I disagree with both of them because. So why are y'all looking at me like I just spoke a foreign language? What do you not understand? What?
I don't understand just the equation.
It's this one, boo-boo. It's that one. The one that we just wrote, and I said it's either division or it's multiplication, depending on what you did. So again, we're complicating this. This is not complicated. Okay? So did you multiply by half or did you divide by 2? Then you're picking an equation that works for that. If neither one of those work for that, you're gonna write I disagree because this is what I did, or whatever. Does that make sense? Okay, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, go.
Want to stand up for everybody?
Yes, please. you to stand and sit down, please, real quick. Like I said, Layla, please be careful of the iPad. So stand up if you said that you agreed with the first one. With mine, or whatever.
Well, what if I say so? Stand up? No,
Okay, have a seat. If you're standing, you should not be talking. Stand up if you agree with Kieran. That was a few, I saw a few of y'all.
Why not? Why didn't y'all agree with me?
I mean, it makes sense, but
It's really,
Stand up if you disagree. That's good. I did not see any disagrees. If you disagree. So you said I disagree with them because? All right. Stand up if you said I agree with both. My bothers, you guys are correct. Both of the equations work,
Yeah, I know that.
okay?
I was thinking
yeah,
about
I just realized.
Oh, I just realized, all right, so, Michaela, what was your reasoning as to why both of them were correct?
So everybody already knows why Mia is correct because they all said that I was correct. But the hierarchy, 3 halves times x would be the same thing because 2 over 2 equals 1, which would equal x. And so you would do x plus 1 half times x.
Okay, so
And it would be just the same equation but shortened.
in order for you to figure out that he also was right, you just took one of our things and plugged it in and saw if you got the right answer? No way.
No.
You mean like that's all you had to do to figure out? All right, so Hunter, you are the lone person who said that you didn't agree with either one. Why?
So sticking.
Stop erasing. It's okay if you didn't get it right or wrong. No, which one's the dumbest?
Because I was,
Yeah,
the
which one's
like
the dumbest?
times half. And I said I discovered both because problem A has 2 x values when the equations really need only 1 x. Because there wouldn't be 2 x's, there's usually just x and y. And I also discovered with B because it's x by, it's x times 1 half, not x times 3 halves.
Okay, so I can see your reasoning. I see that, but
X's have to be the same.
right, the x's like whether the x's equals 3, equals 1, equals -6. If it's -6 plus half times -6, like it's still -6. So the x is not going to change. Does that make sense?
I was like used to it being like 1 x and 1 y, now
Right.
it's 2 x's and 1 y.
Right, and I think that's where you got a little bit confused, but that's fine. I liked your explanation, you had a really good reason for it. It just, that looks a little confusing up there, but your explanation was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Yes?
So isn't 3.5 also 1.5 or 1?
Yes.
Oh, so it's basically x times 1 whole and half of 1 whole.
Right, so this equation is minus
They
this
just-
x.
oh.
That's all they did.
The adding together for you.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
So they just took out the first x in that problem, in the first problem, and the second problem. That's all.
Now I understand. Yeah.
Okay? All right. Any other questions about that?
Yep. So much fun.
All right. Moving on to 4.3. All right. So you now are going to work with your group members on this next part. So pencils are down. So you have A, B, C, and D. These are tape diagrams. Slide over to this side of your paper. You have A, B, and C. So you are matching A, B, C, and D to a scenario over here. Does that make sense? So you're just gonna write, like, if you think A goes with A, you're gonna write A. If you think A and B go with A, you're gonna write A and B. Excuse me. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Any questions? All right, I'm gonna give you, I'll start with 3 minutes. If you finish before then, you may stand up. Go.
A, A, and C.
Yes. Yeah. Two-thirds. Well, you said they're matching.
1/3 less than that. This is 1/3 less than that. So 8x amount. She 2/3. You have a y and a y, right? So yeah. Wait, yeah, A and C.
Hey, make sure you guys have an explanation as to why you're picking A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, literally the only ones that actually work is
I switched them around.
I understand your reason.
The second one saying is part of we were saying that.
Is it right?
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, what?
Wait, what? B and B? B and B. Yes. I was at 2/3 of yours.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Idiot, yeah, you're right. Wait, C plus C is
All right. So we are going to do a stand up, sit down kind of thing with this. All right. So A says pencils down. A does not say pencils down, but pencils down, so I know you're listening. All right. A says Han ate X ounces of blueberries. My ate 1/3 less than that. So stand up if you said A goes with that one. So someone raise your hand and explain why A wouldn't work. Like a just a real easy explanation. Why would A not work for this one? Christian?
Because it says that when it says that y is gonna say that y is 1/3 less than x, but it's greater than x. And number A.
Okay, give 'em something a little bit more simple than that. Like why doesn't A work?
They're fourths, not thirds.
Right, there's fourths, not thirds. Talking about thirds in A, or yeah, in the first one. All right, so stand up if you picked B for the first one. All right, really simple explanation as to why B doesn't work. Jeremiah,
Because you're in fifth.
because they're in test. All right, stand up if you pick for A.
What?
Yeah, stand up if you pick C for A. So you pick C for the rest of your group, did it? Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Not that I mean, I like it that there's a little bit of debate. That's okay. All right, have a seat. Stand up if you pick D for A. All right, so we have a group divided over here. First and foremost, C and D both have what? Thirds. They both have thirds. So at this point, it could go either way. All right, so LeVay, why did the majority of your group pick D as the reason, or D as the right diagram?
Okay, so there's a third, and since the Y covered 1/3 of that, I just thought, oh, since the Y covered 1/3 of that.
Okay, and then Ace, what was your reasoning
For which one?
for why it was C and not D, or A?
For the first question, why did you
For
say
question
C?
A.
I was actually working on other things.
Your favorite
Oh,
juice?
okay, sorry. He knows what he's talking about. I wouldn't understand.
He knows what he's talking about.
The reason I think that C belongs with A is because Han would have gone X and Mai would have done Y. And since Y is 1/3 less than X, and that's what this diagram is displaying, that's why I think that C belongs with A.
So because C is only 1/3 less and D is 2/3 less, that is why C is the correct answer.
Yes.
Yes. So C is the correct answer for A. All right, B, it says my bike X miles. Han bike 2/3 more than that. All right, so again, stand up if you picked A. Stand up if you picked B. Ooh. Stand up if you picked C. Stand up if you picked D. Alright, so this is why I like this though, because listen, as we're doing the stand up sit down thing, and you're like, wait a minute, why did they pick? Oh, I know why they picked that.
It's not third.
Okay, so why did they pick B? Because you did not pick B. So
We
why?
almost did.
You almost did, but
Because the two ones down there, they're just thinking because it said 2/3 that that's gonna be thirds, but those are fifths.
but B,
For B is there's two.
right? But B is the correct answer.
Why?
That's what I'm asking.
Wait, why?
Oh,
That's
because they're not fifths. That's those 3/3 that are shaded in is a whole.
all right. So listen, because people are talking and you're not listening, and Michaela, within talking to herself, essentially figured out the answer. So Michaela, say it again.
The 3/3 that are shaded in. and
Stop right
B
there. So this 1, 2, 3 is 3/3, which if I write 3/3 on the board as a fraction
equals a whole.
equals 1 whole. Continue.
Equals X. And
Which-
then the 2/3. But we thought it was fifths because there's 5 of them.
So they threw one at you. They made this technically fifths, but what did they do here? They gave you the whole. Okay? Anybody else want to add to Michaela's explanation? Alright, so the correct answer for B is B. Alright, and then the last one, C, it says Han bought X pounds of apples. Mai bought 2/3 of that. Alright? So does anybody want to change their answer after having the last two conversations?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead, change your answer real quick. Just change it. You don't need to talk about it. Just change it. Thumbs up when you're ready. Alright, stand up if you picked A. Stand up if you picked B. Stand up if you picked C.
I understand.
Stand up if you picked D. Ooh, alright, so we are about split on C and D. Alright, have a seat. Listen. So, Jeremiah, you guys picked D as a group. Alright, so explain your reasoning as to why you picked D.
Okay, because it's in thirds, and then so x is like the total. It's like 3/3, and then May bought 2/3 of it. So she didn't get the whole of it. She just bought 2/3 of it. And 3/3 minus 2/3 is 1/3. And as you see in D, it
I messed up.
I love it. I love it because y'all have such a good explanation and you're going, and you're like,
You said 2/3.
Yeah, I realized I messed up. It's
They said 2/3.
hey, guys, that's why we have these conversations, so that's why we share our thinking. Listen. Alright, so raise your hand if you pick C. Alright, Cooper, what was your explanation as to why C is correct? Listen.
It said that Han bought X pounds of apples, and X equals 1 because 3/3 are filled out, and 2/3 of 3/3 is 2/3, and that's 2/3 of the Y is.
Yep, it's really that simple. Yes.
So, well, not really a question, but like actually kind of. Okay, so A, the diagram A. Those aren't folds.
Are they?
No.
Why not?
They're thirds.
Because it's the same thing as B, they're thirds, but there's 4/3, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is true. Wait.
So our explanation for A was that it's fifths. I mean fourths, but it's not.
But what is it?
It's third, it's 4/3.
It's thirds.
It's what?
4/3.
It's 4/3.
So it'd be 1 and 1/3. Y equals 1 and 1/3 in that.
Right.
It's 1/3 more.
So Y equals 1 1/3 here. Y equals what?
Yes.
1
Sorry.
and 2/3.
1 2/3 for A.
Yeah.
Y equals 2/3 for C, and Y equals 1/3 for D.
Yes.
So that's just all you need to know.
Yep. Yes.
So it's basically like what we saw on the front of the page.
Yeah.
With the 1 and then the extra.
No way. So your notice and wonder on the front kind of does it make a little bit more sense?
Yep.
No.
Well, like the first one doesn't.
I'm gonna be
Just
like
shaded out the same.
Hey, just remember this day next year in 7th grade when you're doing proportional relationship stuff. Like, yo, Miss Kenny taught me this. I already know this. That's what you can tell them. All right. Number 2, you are doing this as a group as well. Put your pencils down and listen. It says for each diagram, write an equation that represents the relationships between X and Y. We just kind of did that based off of the last conversation that Michaela brought up. All right, so you're writing, and what I mean by that is for A, you're gonna write Y equals something X. Okay? And if you listened at all to what the conversation just was, this will be easy. All right, you get 2 minutes. Go. Could you say you don't get it?
Oh, I have an idea.
All right.
Y equals X plus 1/3.
No, Y equals.
So this is your X, right?
Y equals.
So your X is always up.
No, listen.
Don't it be
X plus 1/3 Y. Multiplication, you just said it.
Yeah.
So it's 1 1/4.
Y would be.
I put X
Why are you saying
What? So what she was saying is X right here, this shape is a whole.
That's why she said that.
Yes, so it's one and one.
So X. What is it?
C is 1 2/3.
Yes, and it's
B equals 1 2/3 times F.
changes it. You'll never hear me say that in my life except for right now.
Well, we wouldn't these like one time, so it'd be no.
Yeah, the one that teacher walked up.
Oh, wait, did you talk about AirPods? Because I'll see if I read it like that, in my mind,
Mason, talk about AirPods.
so if I just do this. Alright, let's go ahead, quickly go over these.
Not one.
So for diagram A, we have y equals blank x. Rock? 4/3 x. Alright, for diagram B, Jason, y equals 5. For diagram C, Ace,
Y equals 2/3 X.
and for diagram D. Alright, Mason.
Y equals 1/3 X.
Yep. We are not going to write a story. I know you are so excited, or so sad.
No, we're so excited.
Go! Hush! Good Lord.
My bad.
Alright, you have a cool down. When you are done with your cool down, please turn it in. I gave some papers back today. Again, if you have 50s or below, you need to work on those. If you have a match of math that you need to get done, you're working on that. If you have Lexia, you're working on that. If you're done with everything and you are happy with your grades, you're working on either a match of math or Lexia. Those are your only options.
Yes.
You may move around the room once you're done with your cool down if you would like. Yes, you may. Why do I hear conversations? It's cool, we can have silence tomorrow to remind us that we are not supposed to be talking. Make sure you get your lessons glued into your notebook. Do that before, you're welcome to do that before you start your cool down, please. out papers that you lost, you can do it in your notebook and just show me your notebook. But I don't print out extra papers. Okay? That's fine. That's fine. That one is. Should have gotten that. And if you want, you can. Remember, it's gonna be one function. Okay, because essentially, you know, so this is gonna be, this is gonna be, three, four, five, this one, since that we can, that's this one. So, like, so it's needed, so. How did you lose that paper that I just gave back to you yesterday?